So you'll see on one of my previous videos on my 2021 Nissan Titan, I had an issue with a moldy, musty smell that got worse in the summertime, and anytime the truck got wet, it got really bad. Talked to the service manager at the dealership, and he told me that the door drains were probably plugged up with mud, and that I had a bacteria growing in the doors. And if you see from my previous videos, I pulled door panels off, I ran moldicide and bleach all through the doors, and it never really cured the issue. So I ended up getting rid of that 21 as a corporate lease vehicle from Nissan. So about a year later, I picked up this 23 Nissan Titan, and lo and behold, the same issue crept up with this truck. And what was happening is basically the same thing. When it would get hot and the truck would get wet, it'd start to smell real moldy and musty. Some people had talked about this particular truck having an issue with the rear window leaking. So you get water in the passenger compartment, it turns to mold and creates an issue. Well, I discovered what the issue actually is, and it still has to do with the doors, because the smell always emanated from the doors. It has to do with water getting trapped in the weather stripping and not being able to drain out, and eventually causing mold to grow and causing the truck to stink. Here you get a real good shot of the area that traps the moisture. You'll see that this is a dual element weather strip. So what happens is it's this inner weather strip down in here. You can see where I'm running the popsicle stick right now. That's where the moisture gets trapped, and that's where you have to get in with some type of a moldicide and clean it out, kill off the mold, and put something in there that'll prevent it from growing back. Okay, here's a breakdown of the supplies used in cleaning the smell out of the truck. So basically, you want something that's going to kill mold, and there's two things that work really well. Plain old white vinegar. This happens to be a cleaning solution, which is a little bit more acidic, and then just a typical bathroom mold cleaner. You don't want to use anything super harsh like a toilet bowl cleaner or anything like that. And then these popsicle sticks, pick those up on Amazon. Those are good for getting into the weather stripping. And then just good regular old Q-tips. Those are good for soaking up the material and getting it down into the weather stripping. Remember, you want to try and keep these things wet for about 10 minutes so that these products can kill off the mold that's growing inside the weather stripping on your vehicle. So we just got a Q-tip that we're going to soak in some white vinegar here, and we're going to get it down into this area of the weather stripping, and you can see what comes off of it here. That's all mold that's growing down inside the weather stripping. So the whole goal here is to get the weather stripping wet with the moldicide for a good 15 minutes so that it can kill that off and kill the smell. See that? Yeah, that's what's making the interior of your vehicle smell. When you roll the windows up right after it rains, it's causing that mold to become active and cause the smell. So the whole key is to keep the surface wet so that the fungus gets killed off. You can see what's coming off on that paper towel. That's all growth down in the weather stripping. Here's the result of going through both doors twice. You'll see that the Q-tips, the paper towel, the popsicle sticks are all covered with that black residue, which is the mold that we ended up cleaning outside out of the weather stripping. It makes a big difference now in how the truck smells when it gets wet outside. Super easy to do. Only thing you want to be careful of is that if you do use vinegar, it could affect some window tint. But in my experience, it's not caused any damage to any of the interior components. Obviously, if you're doing this on something different than the Nissan Titan, you want to do a little test spot to make sure that whatever you're using to kill the mold doesn't hurt any of your interior plastic or trim. Subscribe for more car tips, and thanks for watching.